You are welcome to another story in the story series. Things they happen, oh, my people. Things they happen, my guys. Things they happen. If you listen to this story, you know that yes, things are happening, and we all need to, you know, sit up and be watchful. Bible said, pray and watch. You don't need to allow anybody to cajole you anyhow. You can speak to your God. You know yourself, but you don't know the mind of others. You know your behavior, but you don't know the behaviors of others. So you are going to listen to this story as I brief you. I'll cascade these short, interesting, and very unbelieving stories that happens in my eyes. I mean in my koro eyes. So please just listen. On this particular day, I was coming from a place called Oshodi. Oshodi is in Lagos State. It's a big town in Lagos State. It's one of the commercial hub centers in Lagos State. I was inside the bus coming from Oshodi. I was going home. So while I was inside the bus, this commercial bus we call Molue. Molue is this long buses that convey a lot of people. You see people sitting at the both side and some other people standing in between the two seats. And a lot of people also hang at the door side. That is the life in Lagos. So on this people, I was coming home from Oshodi where went to buy some things. So I was sitting right beside the bus. Usually when you're in such big commercial buses, people always advertise products, and those who wants to preach usually preach the word of God. So while I was sitting, immediately the vehicle started. This man called this pastor stood up and he said that he wanted to preach, and we all we are attentive. He said we should close our eyes. He after prayed for some minutes, opened our eyes, and we started listening to him. And in fact, he started preaching. And do you know one great thing? The preaching was so impactful. Yes, that preaching was okay. That preaching was really touching. That preaching was a preaching of salvation. Frankly speaking, that preaching really touched souls that day. And I was so attentive that I listened to him right from Oshodi till I alighted where I wanted to get down in my bus stop. Now, this is where the funny issue comes in now. Because of my concentration on this man as he was preaching, due to his impactful preaching, whenever I see him, even after that preaching, I will always recognize him because I was focused on him as he was preaching the word. So when it was when the bus was closer to my own bus stop, I notified the driver that I was coming down the next bus stop. Coincidentally for me and the preacher, we alighted at that same bus stop. In fact, when I dropped and I looked behind, I discovered this man actually dropped alongside with me. I didn't know him from anywhere, and I didn't know he was actually going to drop there. Now, when I dropped, I was supposed to take another vehicle from that bus stop where I alighted to my own place. But it's like where he was going was closer to the bus stop. So he trekked past me while I was standing waiting for the next bus to take me to where I was going. He trekked past me and he was going straight. So to me, I felt that maybe his house was closed and therefore he wouldn't enter another vehicle rather but trek down to his house because it was close to the bus stop. So I watched him going. Then after a while, where I stood, I discovered that vehicles were not coming. The vehicle that were supposed to go to my area were no longer coming. So I said, okay, let me trek forward a bit and see if I can get a vehicle or a Okada. Okada is those who that ride a motorcyclist. Maybe I could get one from a very close point to my house since the vehicles were no longer coming close to the bus stop where I was waiting for them. So as I was going towards where I could get a vehicle or the motorcyclist, then I felt, then I felt, you know, thirsty, and I feel I should just go to a nearby shop where they sell drinks and refreshments. So when I walked down there, I ordered for a bottle of malt and just to keep my taste off. So while I was sitting there, I looked. I didn't know this pastor has already entered that same place before my arrival there. So when I looked towards the back, I discovered that that man, that same pastor, was sitting there with a bottle of big stout in his front. You know, it baffles me. I was thinking that wasn't not the man that I actually saw inside the vehicle, because for the fact that the preaching was so impactful, I was so concentrated on him that even if I see him in darkness, I would recognize him. And when I turned, stylish turned again to actually view if he was the actual person, behold, he was the one. And he was with a big stout in his front, and he was drinking this big stout, cold big stout. And I was, each time I took my mouth, I'll look back stylishly and see if actually whether he was the one. But of course, he was the one. You understand? So I quickly drank mine and I relaxed for some time. So immediately he finished his own. He walked past me. No, he could not recognize me, but I recognized him. He walked past me and he started going out. And I rushed mine quickly and I also went out. So while I was outside, I now approached him and I said, "Good day, sir. I think you are the one. You look like somebody who was preaching right inside the vehicle some minutes ago. The vehicle I took from Oshodi down to this place." He said, "Yes, yes, yes. It was one. Was one that that he will not recognize." I said, "Yes, yes, yes. Man of God, you of course you won't recognize, because there are so many people inside the bus." But why I approached it was that your preaching was so impactful. I was trying to really appreciate the work of God in him. And the preaching was so impactful. And he said, "Oh, thank you, brother. God bless you. God bless you. God bless you." So while we were interacting, I now asked him, "But sir, does drinking of alcohol, is it a sin?" And he said, "Drinking of alcohol is not a sin, but it's the effect of this alcoholism on you, on your behavior, that is sin." And I said, "Okay." Because I was baffled when I saw you drinking behind me, because I was inside that place taking malt, and I looked back, I saw you drinking a bottle of big stout. And he said, he told me, he said, "Bros, that after that preaching he made from Oshodi to that place we alighted, that his throat got dried. And of course, that if it takes normal mineral, normal soft drinks, they will not solve it. But rather, he preferred to take stout. That after taking the stout, the taste has been quenched. That each time he preaches so long like that, the only thing that quenches that taste is a stout, not just stout, but big stout." And I looked at this man and I laughed. I said, "Bros, why are you smiling? Why are you laughing?" I said, "Because my belief is that you as a preacher shouldn't have taken alcohol." And he said he has told me earlier now that it is not a consumption of alcohol that is a sin, but it's the effect, the overall effect of this alcoholism on your behavior that makes you commit sin that matters. That we should not allow anybody to deceive me. That anybody can take anything. That is not what goes inside the belly that matters, but it is what comes out of the belly that matters. Brother, this is to me, as a Christian, I do not expect this man of God to drink alcohol. That is my own understanding about the Bible. I don't know what your understanding is, but it's a very, very funny day for me and this man. We argued and argued, because I don't want this video to be so long. We argued and argued and argued and argued. But this man wouldn't want to take to mind. Rather, he insisted that it is what goes into the body, that comes to the belly does not matter, but it is what comes out of the mind or the belly that matters. And taking of alcohol, it's not the issue, but it is the effect that the alcohol will put in your behavior that matters. This is very funny, bros. This is very, very funny. That is another story on the story series. Remain blessed and